therefore, the first message that I want to give to you all is that there cannot be any success in your lives without the willingness to accept change, the willingness to adapt to new circumstances, and the willingness to conceive and live with what you regard as inconceivable. Live with uncertainty, knowing that you will never have the complete proof that it will succeed, but at the same time, having the confidence that whatever new problems come about, you are able to react. It is not usually in life that the problem or any specific issue is the problem. It is how you react to that problem that counts. And your mind can make that problem large or it can make it small. But your ability to react to that problem is what counts. There's some lessons that are only learnt by failure. But I learnt the lessons from that failure. One was assemble the best possible team to work with you, not necessarily the people that you know the best, but the guys who are the best at work. Teams are crucial because they combine the talents, hopefully differing talents of different individuals, and they make the whole greater than the part. You must be involved in a business, even if you don't work there full time. You must be a more active board member. You've got at board meetings to confront difficult issues and not to be quiet because you don't want to ruffle feathers when there's a strategy that is taking place that you feel is wrong. If there is a mistake that our generation has had, or if there is a weakness that we have, it is that, in my view, while my generation was professionally successful, while my generation was academically brilliant, while I think we brought up good children, while I believe that we contributed a lot to our countries, we lacked two things: imagination and courage. I have no doubt in my mind that you, the generation that's following us, has great imagination. You are dreaming and thinking of things that we never did. We accepted very much the dreams that our fathers and our mothers gave us. You are thinking for yourselves and dreaming dreams that they have not given to you. If I have a question about you all and about us, it is about the fact of courage. Ladies and gentlemen, it is not your job to wait for that enabling environment. It is your historic responsibility to create it. It is your job to have the courage to make the changes that are necessary in your society. I do not say it is easy, but I say to you that the only way to achieve success in our countries and for ourselves and for our children is if we're willing to take the necessary risks, to embrace the dangers, not to hesitate, and to be bold. Being bold and not taking risks is achieved at many levels. But the people who founded ALA were themselves, in their own way, very bold. They could have attempted to fulfill the dream that I have just discussed, but they instead took the very bold decision to start a school that had a great probability of failure, that had a great chance to be laughed at if they failed, but they instead persevered against tremendous odds, and it is for their courage and for their vision that we are here today. I commend to all of you, and I hope that all of you shape your own dreams, act with boldness, be not afraid, because it's the only way in which we will make this African century our own century. Success is only success if it comes out of a business that satisfies a real or genuine need, not a manufactured need, is as a result of your doing well in a very competitive situation, and is one that can be sustained by you, irrespective of which government comes to power. And that, for me, is critical, is a clear understanding about risk. Now, a lot of individuals and companies, especially international companies, they will speak to you about not wanting or being very concerned about Africa because it is very risky. What they really mean by that expression is that it is politically risky. Okay? And what they really mean by that is that they have switched on the television and they've heard about a coup in Mozambique, or a famine that is going on in Ethiopia, or that there's been a bomb blast in Nigeria or Kenya. That's what they really mean. I don't blame them, given the paucity of information in the public domain. My response to all of this has been that the correct framework of analysis, if you want to succeed, is not political risk in and of itself. It is the total risk of the business. And that total risk includes market risk, technological risk, political risk is part of it, but it is the total risk of the business. And while, for example, the political risk that I face in Africa may be higher than the political risk that somebody faces in Africa, in Europe, or in America, frankly speaking, the technological risk that I have in Africa is very low indeed. The first mover advantage that I have in most African countries is very low indeed. The chances, for example, that a new technology comes up from a business area that I do not regard as competing with me, and which happens over and over again in the United States and in Europe, hardly ever happens in Africa. When you look at the volatility in the stocks in many American and European countries, the way in which, for example, Google and many other companies are employing disruptive technologies that are changing the face of competition, the risks that you face in a lot of other countries are far higher than you imagine, and they often, in my view, outweigh the lower political risks that you have in the Western world. Therefore, success in Africa needs a correct appreciation of political risk, not exaggerating it, not unduly worrying about it, and understanding that for me in the mobile phone business, or in the banking business, or in the consumer goods business, frankly speaking, the election in a country next year does not matter to me very much at all. The next point I want to emphasize to you is the fundamental importance of relationships. Because many emerging markets have institutions and laws that are weaker than those in America and in Europe, what that means is that personal relationships become more important, or become as important, or become very important, depending on which specific country you are referring to. These relationships must be enhanced, must be encouraged, must be grown by anybody doing business in Africa all the time. You may not want to go for the CEO's daughter's naming ceremony. You may not want to go for his daughter's wedding, but I'll strongly advise you to go in your own interest. These relationships are fundamental, and they do not stop at 5 o'clock in the afternoon when you stop work, go home, and start what you regard as your private life. I would like to simply say that your ability to have problems and setbacks is crucial, because you will have setbacks, schedules will not be met, and you will find yourself sometimes depressed and sad about that, but the ability for you to keep going is central. You all aspire to success. I want you to hear me out in saying that when you get to 59 years of age, as I am, you will realize that your personal life, your sum of affections, your sum of personal relationships, whether these be with children, with nephews or nieces, or with young students of yours, are of fundamental importance to your overall success of your lives. Your relationship with another human being, whether that be a wife or a partner, or your parents, or with your family, are very important. I know many businessmen who are on the pages of newspapers and on the front pages of magazines who return to their lives and to their houses who are deeply unhappy. In your desire to be great successes, I want to urge you not to lose yourself. It is far easier to change a job, to change an industry, and to improve a business than it is to change an unhappy life.